Hey everybody out there, you're tuned in to 91.8 The Fan. You're in my corner and I have a very special guest in the corner that's very hot. Would you like to introduce yourself to the masses out there?
Hi, everybody. My name's Katie Griffin, and I played Sailor Mars.
Well, you've also done a lot of other stuff, but while I want to indulge the Moonies eventually, I'm sure you just didn't break into stage and was like, I'm going to be Sailor Mars. I'm sure there was a better, bigger sort of picture there how you got into acting.
Well, you know what? That is absolutely true. And Sailor Moon was my first anime and my first television series, actually. But I am an on-camera actor, and it was by fluke and happenstance that I auditioned for Sailor Moon, and that was my first real gig into the voiceover world.
Well, I always have to give on-camera actors props because for some, like I do commercial work for voiceover and I never want to be on camera because I'm like, I have to be skinny and I have to know how to use makeup and I have to like comb my hair when I get out of bed. That just seems like a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. And plus I have two little boys, so yeah, it's just way too much work. But
Oh, it must be hard to keep your looks all great, when you have two little guys running around all the time.
thanks. Well, yeah, it is. It is. It's total work. This is what I no, it's actually not that big a deal, but yeah, no, I totally agree with you. I think there are benefits to the voiceover industry, and I do primarily voiceover stuff now. I do the occasional on-camera commercial or TV series or whatever, but yeah, there are benefits to both, and it's certainly a lot quicker and a lot less stressful to go in and do a voiceover than it is to audition on camera and do all of that, memorize lines and everything else. But there's then you book something and I feel like the payoff for on camera seems bigger. It's a bigger payoff for me anyway. Maybe it's not the same for everybody, but I feel like I'm a very competitive person. So it's a big victory when you book something on camera.
Well, that's a great industry to be in if you're competitive.
Yeah. And then tonight I play hockey, so there, I balance. I balance
Well,
it.
I thought all Canadians played hockey. And then I just thought they had hockey sticks instead of guns. I thought that was the
Yeah.
equivalent.
This is true. It's true. So I didn't even need to mention it because we just all play hockey. No.
I'm kidding. As we said, before we got on air, we do have a Canadian on staff, and so there are plenty of Canadian jokes that go around on the
Nice.
staff. It's
Well,
okay. He gets us back with the rednecks and the barbecues and all that fun stuff and the monster trucks.
totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
We can take it.
But no, for the fans out there who are interested in how you got into voiceover, how did you hear about the Sailor Moon audition?
Well, the Sailor Moon audition was, well, at the time, I was dating the original Tuxedo Mask, and he's now a really good friend of mine, Reno Romano. And he said, you have to audition for this series that I'm on. And I had no idea. And he said, it's a cartoon or it's anime. Well, at the time, he didn't realize anime and cartoon. There's actually, you don't say cartoon when it's, anyway, whatever, you know that. So at the time, he said you have to audition for this, and a lot of women had auditioned, or girls, and had auditioned for this show, and they all went in for Sailor Moon, and I was a little late to the game, so he kind of scored me the audition, and I went straight in there for Sailor Mars, and I got lucky.
Well, now that show has a cult following even to this day. I actually had the staff hound me a few years ago because I had my wallet from when I was 9 still because I couldn't find any other Sailor Moon wallets. And now
Right.
there's new merchandise, so now I've got a replacement. So,
Oh, it's crazy. I know. Well, years ago, when I was recording Sailor Moon, I was obsessed with kung fu, and I'm a huge I still am a martial arts fan, and I went downtown Toronto to the well our little, I guess it was Chinatown at the time. I think it's still called that. I don't know. But I went in to get a bunch of Kung Fu stuff. And I walked into this store, and this is when I was 20. This is a long time ago, 20 years ago. And when I got in the store, it was all Sailor Moon stuff. And I pretty much cleared out all the Sailor Mars merchandise I could. So I have a shrine here at my house. Oh,
All I can think
Sailor.
of is like, okay, this week's Sailor Moon paycheck went to Sailor Moon merchandise.
Yeah, and that's exactly what happened because yeah, that's what
No,
we.
I understand. I mean, I'm just a fan of the show, and I still have things, from when I was a kid, like the dolls and some of like the jewelry boxes and things
Those
from
little
Toys R Us.
cards.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Oh,
have
yeah, I
everything.
do have all the cards. I'm still
Yeah.
collecting the cards, by the way.
Yeah, nice. I like it. That's
I
awesome.
want all the Sailor Scout holographics. I don't have them all.
Uh,
I've been trying for years, but sometimes I get lucky and I run into them at a convention. I'm like, I must buy these. They're only like $1.
well, that's the thing. I know. Well, we've been going to a bunch of the conventions together and just floored by the support Sailor Moon still has. And yeah, Sailor Moon fans are the best. We just, yeah, it's overwhelming. I can't believe. And then, yeah, of course, you go to these things and you see all the merchandise and it's all going around, and you have to buy more.
And I actually believe you were at one of our favorite conventions in Alabama recently.
Yes, and we had a blast. We had a really good time. It
Now,
was a
did you?
very, very fun.
Now, I'm just curious. Did you get to see the wedding?
Oh, well, that's a funny story. We were going there we were hoping to make the wedding, and our trip to Alabama was all planes, trains, and automobile. I can't even say it. It's a good thing I'm not a voice actor. Automobiles. Our flight, because I guess Alabama got some ice and it's not normal or something. So everything was going all haywire. Flights were getting canceled. And then our flight out was fine. And then from where were we? Where did we fly? Dallas to Alabama got canceled. So then we had to rent a car and drive there. So we had a big panel of people, a huge audience waiting for us. We missed the wedding, sadly, but the audience was waiting for us, and we were driving there and tweeting them, or not tweeting them. We were texting them, and then finally we showed up. But it was a long 12-hour day.
Well, I have to say that takes some dedication. I've been in standby hell before, and that's like the worst I've had during convention travel. So in a sense, I can relate. But I hope that one of you guys was like filming in the car, like the Sailor Moon road trip. I mean, that would have been great YouTube money.
That's so funny. We didn't even think about that. Although
Dang it.
Linda, who was Sailor Moon, was driving, which is hilarious. Yeah, Sailor Moon was driving, Tuxedo Mask was in the passenger seat, and then Sailor Jupiter and myself were sitting in the back seat like small children. And Linda is hilarious because she's very competitive too. We're just sport. We both love hockey too. We watch a lot of the Maple Leafs and whatever. Anyway, so she was like, "No, we're doing this. We're getting there. This is not this is gonna happen." And so she would be driving, and she's going at a good pace, and then Tuxedo Mask, Linda, in this really calm tone, would say, "You gotta calm down. You just gotta calm down now." It was actually really funny.
Oh, that's amazing. I really wish somebody would have filmed for the future.
For
For
the
the
future,
future.
we will do
Yeah.
that, I'm sure. So we have a lot of adventures coming up, so I'm
Yeah, I
sure.
believe you guys are also going to Anime Expo in the summer.
Yep, yep, we're heading there. We're going to North Carolina. Oh no, where are we going? Yeah, North Carolina in a couple weeks to oh my God, I can't believe I can't think of what the name of it is. I'm going to come back to it.
That's fine. We understand. But I will say the cool thing for the fans is to I think see you guys emerge on the circuit after so many years. Because for a lot of the older fans, they might not necessarily know some of the newer guests. They might be like, that's not necessarily for me. So I think to see you guys is a real treat for them.
Oh, that's nice. And we every time we go to these things and people come up to us, I think we're just, I mean, beyond flattered. It's just, yeah, I think I've already said overwhelming, really creative, Katie. But it's just overwhelming, and the nicest people in the universe are Sailor Moon fans, and they come up and you were our childhood, and look at me, I'm getting all emotional. But yeah, it's just they're the nicest people in the world, and we're really, really lucky. And you're a voiceover person as well, so it's really a lucky job. It's a good job.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and I especially know for you guys, as a fan, there must be a lot of meaning when you have people approach you that are like, that show helped shape my morals or it helps shape my future. I often say when we get a guest from Sailor Moon onto the show that Sailor Moon was my first manga and my first anime. And I wouldn't be running a radio station online and doing voiceover stuff if I hadn't have seen Sailor Moon, because that was my gateway drug in anime.
That's awesome. You see? Exactly that. I mean, I've done tons of shows. I did Totally Spies. Played Alex on Totally Spies and a lot of really popular, amazing shows. And it's just not quite the same because I would never meet the fan. I might meet people here and there who watched Totally Spies or watched Brace Face growing up or or any of the Bakugan or Beyblade or anything, but it's not the same. Like I feel like Sailor Moon fans are hardcore. You just
Definitely. They're kind of like the metal rock concerts of the 80s.
That's right. Totally.
But I will say with Totally Spies, I have the PlayStation 2 game. I got it on sale when I worked at a game store like 4 years ago and I had never opened it. And so I was like, well, I'm talking to you tomorrow. So I popped it in actually and I played it last night and I was really surprised because it's like a board
Oh,
game. I kind of
oh,
expected it to be like some sort of like actiony punch sort of thing, but it's like a Monopoly board game where you travel around until you find the villain.
well, that's really crazy. Very,
But
very
I will say I really did enjoy that show as well growing up because it has the same embodiment as Sailor Moon, these really powerful girls that are also feminine, which I
yeah,
think is really important.
I do too. And, we get a lot of questions about how we feel about how the girls in Sailor Moon, how they were portrayed, and they had little short skirts and, sex symbols and all this stuff. But the bottom line for me is no, it was all about camaraderie and loyalty, and we had each other's backs. And I think it's kind of I think we can dress however we want. It doesn't really matter. As long as you're true to yourself, it doesn't really matter. And so for me, and same with Totally Spies, they're silly. I mean, Alex, they're all silly really, but they're into boys and makeup and all these fun things, but it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, they're still badass spies. Oh, can I
Mhm.
say that? That's not
You're
swear.
okay. You can say that,
Er,
yes. But I agree with that because a problem I'm kind of having in media lately, especially as a geek, as a gamer, is that you're seeing all these tough chicks, but they don't have their femininity. They can't be in dresses.
Yeah.
Like a good example is Mass Effect. You
Okay.
can dress her in a dress if you want to, and then she sits with her legs open and her arms in between it because they didn't change anything about the dress. And I'm like, oh, nobody wants to see that.
No. No. That's very funny. Yeah, no, that's a really good point because I feel like, there's always a balance. I feel like we're very complex creatures, aren't we, as women? And yeah, we can be feminine and we can be tough as nails and we can be sporty and save the world and whatever.
Exactly, I agree. So I'm very happy that the cast and you as well all see Sailor Moon in that light.
Yeah,
Because
we do.
I always get surprised when people are like, their skirts were too short and you could see their underwear. And I'm like, when I was a kid, I didn't care.
No, it wasn't even about that. It was just it was the storyline and the support for one another. And they were completely different. They all had different personalities, which is why I think it was so popular because I mean, people could relate to the different characters. So, yeah, they all had their little skills and Sailor
Yeah,
Mars.
every girl was really different too.
That's right.
And that's what makes it an enjoyable show. And I think that's what has it have a cult following for so many years. So I just it must be a kind of a staple of your career to be like, I was in that.
It until recently, I not really like it sort of always whatever's I'm currently working on will come out of my mouth because I hate talking about if somebody bumps into me, what are you working on? It's really hard for me as an actor to just start listing things off that I'm doing. So it never really came up until the last couple of years, unless I was having an in-depth conversation. It would always be, oh, I'm playing Ruby on Max and Ruby, or Alex on Totally Spies was 6 seasons we did. So that was for the longest time. And then you sort of let it go instead of, oh, and when I first started, I was Sailor Mars, and then that'd be yeah. So I up until the 20th anniversary, which was last year, yeah, I sort of it was the best kept secret.
Well, for the listeners out there who want to keep track of projects that you have coming up or projects you're working on, is there anything that you can pimp out to them without having NDA ninjas after you?
Let me think. This is a very good question. Well, I'm working on, I think I can talk about this. Inspector Gadget is doing a reboot, and I am currently working on that as Penny's friend because they're adding new people. So yeah, and she's, without giving too much away, but she's a really fast talking. She's still, working. I don't know why I'm always in these spy. I'm always sort of kicking butt, which is awesome. But she kicks butt in a different way too, because she's silly and she talks a lot. But anyway, yeah. So that's what I'm working on right now.
Well, that's
And
really nice to hear. I mean, as soon as I heard it, all I could hear was the old theme song. So I'm sure that will also have a really good response.
that's funny. Me too. Or I hear Claw, or I hear, I every time I think about it, because I grew up on the show, so I totally watched it all the time. But luckily, I mean, I did audition for Penny, but Tara Strong is Penny, and she does a billion things, and she lives in Los Angeles, so she's originally on Rugrats. She does everything, so I guess you can IMDb her, and you'll say, "Oh yes, of course I know Tara."
Yeah, My Little Pony and all those fun
Yeah,
things
that's right.
is
That's
is
right.
generally what our crowd knows her for.
Right.
So, for the fans out there who want to keep up to date with what's going on with you, do you have any social media where they can follow you, like Facebook, Twitter, anything like that?
Yeah, you can find me on Facebook. There's a Katie Griffin page, and I'm on there all the time. So you can find me there. And also, I am on Twitter. It's Kiss Me Chaos. Is it just at Kiss Me Chaos? Yeah, I guess so. I do go on Twitter. I'm just. It's funny that I don't know technology better, but I do go on there, but I sort of respond to things through the email onto Twitter. And I only signed up to Twitter because I'm a huge baseball fan as well. So on Tuesdays when you go to the ball game for the Blue Jays, you can win free chicken. So
I,
my sister and I go there to win free chicken, but we never win.
I think you and my brother would get along really well. He has like we just moved and he found he's 11 years older than me and he found all of his baseball cards. And
Nice.
he just has like people I don't even know. I've never really been into sports. I watch esports. I watch League of Legends, so
That's fantastic.
I'm not really savvy onto that sort of thing. But I,
But I love
I'm
that. I love that. That's fine. Esports, that's fine. It's sports.
well, sort of. They just sit at a computer and do it.
Oh yeah, that's true. It was competitive.
But
Well,
now, since we're nearing the end of this interview, I was wondering if you'd be willing to participate in a 91.8 The Fan tradition.
oh, okay. What's that?
Basically, we'd be willing to, we're asking you if you'd be willing to do a radio bump for us.
Oh, absolutely.
Awesome. The trick of it, however, is that we do the takes live on air. So if you mess up, everybody hears it.
Oh, great. All right.
It's their favorite part, don't worry.
Okay.
Basically, we ask if you'd be willing to say, "Hello, my name is," you insert your name. "I do
Okay.
this." You can say characters, "I'm a voice actress," whatever you want to put there. And you're tuned into 91.8 The Fan.
Okay.
So whenever you're ready.
Hi there. My name is Katie Griffin. I'm a voice actor, probably most known for playing Ray or Sailor Mars on Sailor Moon. And right now, you are listening to 91.8 The Fan. So thank you very much for listening.
There you go. That wasn't so hard. I think
Did
you're
I miss
professional.
Did I mess it up? I feel like I did. I feel
No,
like there
you
was
didn't.
one more thing for me to say.
No, you got it.
All right.
You got it. This is your job. You got it. We're all cool.
Wicked.
Confidence booster. But for the fans out there, is there anything else you want to say to them? Any words of wisdom, dating advice, predictions for the end of the world?
No, but okay, yeah, predictions for the end of the world. That's fantastic. I'm of course going to get off and think of all the predictions that I would have said, but I'm not going to think of that right now. But just thanks for listening and thanks for watching all the shows. And you don't really see the voice actors, but we really appreciate everyone watching. And we do stuff like the Sailor Moon stuff. We're going to all these conventions because the fans are so wicked awesome. So, and also baseball starts in 1 month. I don't know why I'm saying that, like, because I'm not part of the Blue Jays. It's weird.
It's okay. You're supporting your team. I
Yeah,
understand.
go Jays!
And on my side, I'd say go Gambit for League of Legends, but
Yeah, I respect that.
Fair enough. But thank you so much for joining us today. It was a lot of fun.
Okay, thanks so much for having me. All
And for
right.
any of the listeners out there that missed any of this interview, don't fret. You can catch it on the website within the next few days. So keep your eyes peeled to 918thefan.com and your ears tuned to 91.8 The Fan, where we play everything you want and nothing you don't.